Okay, so recording round 2. I just wanted to show you guys the cassette family that I made and how to use it quickly. So you can see these are just line-based families with 2 parameters, width and length, and you can draw them, and all the joists and the supporting studs are arrayed, so if you widen it, it'll array properly. So I just want to, I've laid a couple down. I've laid them down on one unit, I've grouped them, and I've arrayed them. So it's that simple to finish your entire cassette system. I did that in about 10 minutes. For the sake of repetition, I'm going to ungroup this, and I'm going to do it again just to show you how easy it is. So we're going to show us in a section view. We're going to see that all the hatching and all the things are built into the parameters. So wherever you move it, the stud annotations and the installation annotation, all of this stuff, where the hatches are all moving together with it. I'm going to start working on the next. I'm going to just copy this one over since it has the same angle parameter. And I'm going to move it over here. So that's already done. That's one done. You can see there's 2 lengths, so let's say this one's a little off, so we're going to extend this. That's going to recalculate all the parameters, and we are going to, let's say, widen this a little bit. The width is controlled by this parameter, the total parameter, and then there's the slope, which is adding this. So we can edit the slope by changing this instance parameter. Let's say, okay, we're a little off, so we're gonna just add this to 22 degrees. That moves up. Okay, that's too much. Let's go back to 20. It looked pretty good. Great. And so you can select multiples of those if you want a lot of them to have the same angle. You can control the total height of the building by this parameter. So this stud, the main frame, controls the height of your floors. So we edit, and that's a type parameter. So let's say we have 2. Let's say one spans longer than the other, so we need it to be a little stronger. We're going to duplicate this to, let's say, a 350 mil thick floor. We're going to change this from the main frame height. So this is what controls the total height. This parameter, the main frame height. We're going to change this to 350, as in the description. Edit that. And we're going to change this type to that. So we can see now we have a taller building, and all the insulation arrays and everything changed to it. There is one caveat to this model family, and it's if you change this, this is the minimum width as of now. If you change this to, let's say, only 2,000 millimeters wide, it's going to break the family. It won't be able to create it, so we're going to cancel that. So as of now, 2,200 is the minimum width this family can handle, until I can figure out how to write proper if and or parameter syntax. Let's go back to the roof thing. Now we can see all of these, they've been tagged, because these are generic models, and the tag I've set to read the mark. So let's say I've laid out all my drawings, and I'm going to show you a Dynamo script to just click and automatically fill in a parameter. Let's call this roof cassette sequence 50. Okay. And then I tag, annotate, I can tag all of them at once by pressing this one. Now it's tagged with our RC sequence layout and everything. So let's set this back to total width of 2,200 to match the other ones. Now what I can do is I can copy this one. I'm going to draw it from scratch because I just want to show you how simple this can be. So we're going to create similar, right? At the moment you can't place it on these walls because this is a face family. So I'm currently placing it on a face, not a work plane. So either I'm going to set it to, I don't have any levels in this roof project, so I can't set a work plane. But what I can do is I can just find a flat surface, which would be this one, let's say. I'm going to draw a length. See, this just draws up the cassette. And at the now, it's rotated the wrong way, so we're going to rotate that 180 degrees. Right? And then I'm going to move this to where I actually want it to be. To here. And now we're going to create another section view. So, view, section. We're going to go to the view. You can see this is up here because we placed it on this family. So now all we have to do is we have to create an offset. So what we're going to do is DI. We're going to find a location that we want. So we want it to rest on this, right? So, okay, it's not going to work with that because it's not the same angle, so we're just going to use the dimension line. We want it to rest around here, so about 700. We're going to set this offset to minus 700. Great. And now the angle is off, so we're going to set this angle to 15, because now the slope is leveling out a bit. That looks pretty good. The offset's a bit much, so we're going to go minus 650 instead. There we go. So that's lined up nice. You can see in the back that's the taller roof stud. This is the shorter one. We're going to move this to meet the other one like that, and that is perfect. And now we can group these. Let's say we like what we've done. We've drawn the lengths properly. We've done one unit. We'll just group them. You can also, let's say you only have the ones on one unit, SA, select. The other one, this flat roof system, or like for this thing, is a bit easier because this is a flat surface, so we can actually draw the thing. So we'll find our roof cassette system, right? We'll place this on a plane. We're going to draw, wrong plane. I'm going to do that again. We're going to draw this to here, like that. So depending on your structure, that's sitting on the structure. This is currently set to 20 degrees. I'm going to turn that to 0 because these are laying flat. And what I did with these is I just arrayed them to meet there and then grouped. So you can group these, and then you can add one of the array groups, and it's going to group the entire array, which you can then control very simply. Let's say just to 7, to 10, depending on how far you want the cassette to go. So for example, mine will go till there, so add another 2. Now we have 10 here. The problem is that's a specific model group, array group, because that's the end piece, but let's back out of that and we'll just draw the 2 by hand over there, since that's unique. So yeah, that's it. You can go into the family, edit the type, and let's find... We can't control the array parameters from here because it's not being controlled. It's being controlled by a formula. So if you want, depending on the joists, the width. Like, so the joists are currently spaced by the length divided by 400. So Revit's always going to try to divide this, whatever the length is. Let's say the length is 3000. It'll divide it by 400, and that's how many joists you're going to get. And so you can see when the length is set to, let's go from the reference plane. The length is 5,800. It will create the joists accordingly divided by 400 mils. You can change that formula in the family going down. So NOJ is number of joists. You can change it if you want more joists over smaller distancing. You would to divide it by 300. Then you can work on number of insulation, just keep that as it is, and then it's the number of studs. So it's working on a width parameter, so it's also that 400. Yeah, So that's pretty much it. That was the tour, all the materials. There's visibility settings, so if you're if you want to create if you want to see for study purposes what it is you're looking at, you can edit the type, so we can turn off layers. So I'm going to edit the type, and I'm going to hide everything except the clips and the frames. So I'm going to hide the membrane. So MDMF, asphaltic paper, windproof, damp-proof. We're going to turn off those layers, just see what the actual frame looks like. Loading, loading, loading.
Can I add the line around it?
That's done. So now we are only seeing the joists, and we're seeing the insulation, which doesn't have a visual material, and yeah. That's done, and because they're line-based families, they're really, really, really easy to adjust just by dragging the shape handle. And this will recalculate the length, which will redistribute the joists, which will recreate everything for you. And then you can auto tag, and you have your sequencing, your layout plans, everything done for you in a matter of a few minutes. So I hope you like that. Enjoy. Best of luck with your individuals, and
Love, like and subscribe.